welcome to this new episode of our podcast Peace Today, where we talk to people from all over the world who are concerned with what's happening and who want to make a more peaceful future for our planet and for our future generations. We have been talking the past period a lot about what's happening in Ukraine and what's happening in Israel and Palestine. However, there are many more conflicts going on in the world that get much less attention. And one of the biggest crises actually has been taking place over the past decades in DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this conflict has flared up over the past months. And I'm going to talk about this conflict with Ewing Amadi Salumu. Thank you very much for being here. Ewing, you are a former journalist of the national television in Congo. And you've worked for several NGOs, and you're also a human rights activist. Ewing, Congo is one of the places that we know already for many years that there is trouble and there is war and violence and killing. However, I think the conflict is also one of the least understood in the West. Or let's say there's a lack of interest maybe from the West in what's taking place. Let's start with the actual situation. Can you describe what has happened over the past months?
Yeah. Before all, I have to say thank you for inviting me here today and to talk about dear Congo, my country, and to talk about the situation on the ground. For 2 years now, there is a conflict on the ground, and we have a lot of people displaced. We have women who are raped. We have children without any chance to go to school. And since two months, there is an escalation in the conflict. We have rebels of M23 who took the city of Goma, took the city of Bukavu, and now they are moving forward. They would like to take the city of Uvira. They would like to take the city of Kisangani. And if you try to see what is going on the ground, all military are just fleeing. They don't go into battle with the rebels who are good equipped with Rwanda backing, and it's most complicated. That's why I say thank you for inviting me here today.
Yes, we hear a lot about this M23, and they were active already quite some years, but over the past 2 months, the war has really escalated.
Sure.
What is this group M23 that we hear so sometimes about?
Yes, if we have to stay on the basics, you have to remember that in 2002 there is a peace agreement between the government of Congo and the rebels, the RCD of that period, and not every military of RCD come in, I may say, under the parapluie of the DRC government. Some of them decided to stay apart. Yeah. And then they have, in 2004, took the city of Bukavu. Then you have people like Mutebusi and Laurent Kunda, who is known in the media, who came and took the city of Bukavu. And after that, they created a party that they called a CNDP. And with the CNDP, they went in negotiation with the government. They didn't find a solution, but in 2003, there was a kind of agreement between the CNDP and the government of Kinshasa.
And who are they, CNDP?
And this is it. The CNDP, this is a movement of Tutsi rebels who say that they want to protect other Tutsi in the region because they see that they are marginalized, discriminated, and they want to do something for them. And the CNDP signed an agreement with the Congolese government, and that was in March 23. And after a few months, they decided one part to join the government, and another part decided not to join the government, and they became the movement of 23 March. That's why they have this name of M23.
So they're already quite old. They're more than 20 years old.
Yes.
Yes. So, but they seem to be very powerful. You say they're well equipped, and they're able apparently to conquer cities of more than 1 million inhabitants. I think. I think Goma is more than 1 million. And
yes.
Bukavu maybe also.
Maybe more than 2 million right now.
Yeah,
more than 2 million.
So this is not a random rebel group. It seems they are funded and they are supported. So what is behind M23?
What we see is from the last report of the human experts is that there are many, I may say, proof stating that Rwanda is backed the M23. But Rwanda is denied the allegation and say they don't have any things with the rebels. And what you see on the ground, because you are receiving pictures, you see that there are soldiers from Rwanda, RDF. But we also have to identify other companies around the globe who are helping them. Because if you see how they are good equipped, you have to ask yourself, is only Rwanda who is backing them, or there are also other people who can be behind them? So I think that we have to go deep in the understanding and find other government. But right now, the first one who is behind is the Rwanda government.
Okay, and that is, even though there's a denial from the Rwandan government, you can actually prove sort of that is them. You say there are Rwandan soldiers in Rwandan uniforms that are walking
in Rwanda
among
uniform. You see it, and you have to see how they are working, how they are moving. They are good ones in the mission they are doing.
well trained.
They are well trained.
Yeah. So, what is the objective of what is the group trying to achieve? Do you think?
I think this is why people do not understand the situation in Congo, because it's so complex to understand. And when you want to understand why the crisis right now, you have to go back, and not only 30 years ago, but sometimes you have to go back in the history of the region to understand what was going on. But this is not a subject of today. Why right now? There was a kind of memorandum understanding and signed agreement between the Congolese government and the Uganda government, with the idea to construct 2 corridor routes from Kasindi to Uganda and from Goma to Uganda. And this is what is economic. If you try to ask people from Goma to go to Uganda without going through Rwanda, then there are a lot of that Rwanda will lose economically. And when this project came, directly Rwanda started to say this is not very good, and then this was the beginning of this crisis right now. It's really economic.
So Uganda wanted to have their own direct transport routes from Congo to hey, yeah, okay, maybe continue first.
Yes, but you have to know the traffic on the border. There are 4 places. You have this in Gatumba, between Uvira and Burundi. You have this in Bukavu, Ruzizi 1 and Ruzizi 2. You have this in Goma, and you have this in Kasindi. And when you see how big is the traffic there between Goma and Uganda, it is for Rwanda is echt too much to lose if they can lose this possibility.
Yeah, so they always need to go through Rwanda, and that's what at stake for Rwanda.
Yes, it's advantages for Rwanda.
Yeah. So let's talk briefly about what is the root cause. I mean, why is the economy so interested in Congo? Why is Rwanda and Uganda? Why do they all want to have these transport routes?
Look, this is a market. Congo is a big market for those countries. From the EAC countries, If you take Tanzania, if you take Uganda, if you take Rwanda, Uganda, all those countries, they produce many things, and we as Congolese are only importation. We have to import a thing from them. So it's a big market. And that's why you have to control the market. You have to control, you have to control business. Rwanda have Bukavu, Goma, and Uganda would like also to have a place where they can have something that's helped them to do business with Congolese.
But then you are you're presenting like it's a market for goods produced in these countries.
Yes.
But what about, I mean, what we always hear is about that it's the minerals, that the vice versa.
This is the first one. Why the situation right now? This is what began. But if you go now to the minerals, you have to see how they are fighting right now and which kind of region they are conquered right now.
Yeah.
They took North Kivu, now South Kivu. They have now Rubaya, the biggest in the world, with Colombo Tantalite. And I think for the tech industry, Rubaya is so good for them. Now they're moving. Walikale and the places, they will take the second mine, the biggest mining, and that is BC. They will control it. Because the alpha mine is gone, they take it yesterday. And if you go in South Kivu, they was in Mushinga. There you have gold, and too much gold. They are moving now to go to Kamituga and Shabunda. If you take Kamituga and Shabunda, if you ask Belgium, they know families who were there, invested from 1900 only to get this gold. We have Somenki, the big company over there, just digging gold, and now they are moving to take it. And they will also go in Maniema, in Salamabila, where they will have to take this. So if they go in Uvira, they will reach them. So, and after that, they target also to go in Ituri. Ituri is also known for gold. So you think that they have a big deal, a big part that help them to be really rich. And the day they will take all this area, they will be really rich.
Wow. So you mentioned gold, you mentioned tantalite.
The tantals, yes.
And cobalt.
Yes.
Coltan.
Cobalt there will be in Tanganyika because they are now targeting also Kalemi. If they take Uvira, they have the possibility to go to Kalemi and around. They will have gold, cobalt, lithium, and everything there.
So, but they will control that area.
Yes.
But who will profit? It's Rwanda in the end.
Rwanda is profiting, but also the international community, all those companies who have to take it.
But they do take it already, don't they?
Yes.
But why would this action help them to take it better or more?
Look, you know that the Rwanda government would like to be independent for all the aid coming from around the globe just to support them, and they would like to be free. And if they take control of this mining, then they are free. Look, for this period, it's not easy access for them right now. But if they fight and they will have soldiers on the ground, and this, if you have to go back, there was an agreement between Tshisekedi and Kagame to help them to control the production of gold in South Kivu with Sokimo and others, and the population was not keen to accept such of agreement, and the idea was that Rwanda should bring the army on the ground in Congo in order to protect all the mining and the agreement. And after some removes, as we say in the French, Congolese have decided to stop, and so you see that they lost control. But now they're coming back and they have the possibility to control.
So that's an extra reason. You mentioned the roads that Uganda want to make. Yeah. And you mentioned as a second reason that the minerals had become less accessible for Rwanda.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the plan, you think? What's the big plan? They move to all these mining areas. What's the end game, the end goal?
The end game, I think, as always, they will force the Congolese government to sit on the table and sign agreements. And if you go back with the Nairobi Agreement, if you go back with Addis Ababa Agreement, the M23, for example, of agreement that was second Nairobi, I think they are planning another, and in order to have this access. There is Herman Cohen, who is a US diplomat, who said that as long as Rwanda doesn't get fully access to the mining, there will always be a problem. And they said from the US Department, they see the Kivu as part of Rwanda. But this is not true. It's not true. But what we see is that Rwanda is wanting to have a place of influence, and this can be the third reason. They want a zone where they can be free to move in and go out without anyone asking them why they are in, why they have to go out. And if you go back in the history, you will see that the last kingdom in Rwanda was just like a buffer zone since 1923, was destroyed, and now there is no one. They have to move forward and take another region that can be like a buffer zone.
A buffer zone against what? Or
a buffer zone is kind of a zone of control. It's kind of a zone of influence, and that's why I say it's most complicated history to understand the region, because you have to go back in the history.
So the leaders in Rwanda, they are from the Tutsi tribe.
Yes.
I understand also many Hutus now fight for M23. Is that true?
Yes, because the region where they are is the region where you have Hutu and Congolese Tutsi. Congolese Hutu and Congolese Tutsi. And they are now under control of this M23, so they can also fight.
But these Hutus and Tutsis in Congo, are they there from way back, or are they there since the 94?
No, they are there before. And this is what I'm saying is about history. You also have to understand, if you need me to talk about history, I can be akin to give all the answer about the history. So we do have Congolese Tutsi and Congolese Hutu. In the region, in North Kivu, 30% of people there speaking Kinyarwanda. And among them you find the Tutsi and Hutu and also some Twa. But they have created a kind of sort of randophonie, and this is creating more problems. But I think that we have to stay on, we have Rwanda speaking who are Hutu and Tutsis. Yeah. They were there before the colonization, and they are still there until today.
And you say they try, is it so that they sort of try to re-establish a zone of control, like the Tutsi leaders of Rwanda try to establish a new zone of control? Would that be a de facto annexation, or would that be a third state, or what would they like?
This is a fourth reason, annexation. Because Rwanda, if you go into history of Rwanda, it was a small city and became big with conquest. Now that they want they're doing new conquest. And why the fourth? Because we have mentioned three. Now the fourth one, the annexation. If you look at the discourse of President Kagame, James Kabarebe, and others, when talking about Goma and North Kivu, they said this is ours. There are many images after the M23 took the city of Goma, a woman saying, "We are now in Ingoma, Iguhugu Chachu," saying, "We are now in Goma, our city." So you understand that they need to annex this. They need territories. And this is the fourth reason that they are there. The first one that I mentioned is the road. This is how it began for this. There is minerals control, there is zone of control, and the annexation, if possible.
Where do you see this going? Do you see them, I mean, they seem to be super successful. Do you think they're gonna achieve those goals?
They did it 30 years ago. They did it 30 years ago, in 1996. That's the beginning of the war. And for more than 3 or 4 years, the Congo was split in two parts. One part was Kabila, and another part, they had, I think, 60% of the country in their hand, under control. But now they are coming again in the same way of fighting. They're doing the same as 1996. So they will achieve, and this is the lesson that we have to take from history. Are they going to stay? Because from the history, from centuries, they always come, fight, and then they are chased by the population, or by the king and who were there in that time. This is for pre-colonial periods. And then came the Belgium. They helped them to take many parts of the country, and now on. And then again, and I say 1998 to 2002, they were there. It didn't succeed them to stay, and now this one.
So you see there's still a chance of them not succeeding, let's say, in the end?
At the end, it's just a period.
So how does the West operate in this whole scheme that is playing out?
We, from our group of experts of Congo, independent group, Mayele Institute, we have tried to analyze this and to see what can be and what the international community are doing, are playing the role. They will only do one thing, just ask Rwanda to go back, to stop fighting, and ask a negotiation. And this is and some sanction. As today, Rwanda just breaking the link with Belgium, for example. So this is what will happen. And after that, they will find a new deal and move forward, because it's about deal. The one who will give the best is the one who will continue in this deal.
But you say they have sanctions and they talk and they say to Rwanda to go back.
Yeah.
But they do also profit, you started saying. I mean, there are companies. Can you mention companies who would profit by the actions?
I think that giving names is sometimes good and not good. And when we are talking, we have many things on the table. What we know that we need electricals, we need mobiles, we need computers, and we know who is producing this. And you will not produce this if you don't have access to minerals. And if you go back in Congo, you will see more companies who are just digging and producing. And for example, Apple need this, Tesla need this, every company in the world needs this. But we have to come with proof saying this is...
Of course, you need proof in order to make an accusation.
To make an accusation.
I get it. But are these companies disturbed by what's happening now, or can they operate as usual?
The government of Congo brought Apple to justice in order to say that they are using illegal materials, and finally they showed that they have a good channel of getting this. So I think that has become more complicated for the Congolese government. That's why I'm saying we must work hard and have proof in this channel. Who is the first one and who is the last one?
Because it seems like a double standard then, or a double position of the West. On the one hand, they sanction and try to say it's not good, but on the other hand, there's companies profiting also from these kind of wars.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is your suggestion that we can do? I mean, there's a lots of killing and rape, as you say, and it's super violent, and populations are on the move in a big way. Goma was already full of refugees when it was attacked, and in a very dire situation. So many people are dying of this, and we tend to not have a lot of interest in that. So what do you think we can do, and what do you think? How do you, as Congolese, mobilize against this, and how does even people think about it in society?
Yes, I think we have to go back in history. And if you read the book of Rothschild about Congo, the Holocaust in Congo, then you can see what happened in that period when people in many countries in Europe helped Congolese to give them, I mean, how can I say it? They had a chance to show to the world that there is something bad going on on the ground. And that pushed King Leopold to stop and give the country to Belgium.
Yes.
And today what we see is that people are talking about prosperity. There is no prosperity when your prosperity is the killing of innocent people. You can have a big Tesla, you can have a big computer, but you have to think that all the materials are legal materials and that are not blood materials. If people begin thinking from that point, they will understand what is going on around, on the ground. I just mentioned about Rubaya. I think the same thing about Alphamine and BC. This is a place for Colombo Tantalite. And this, you need this in everything that you have in house today. They will have gold in South Kivu. They will have cassiterite. So all those materials, if it can be taken from the normal route, this is everyone needs. Because now to get this, people have to die. Rebels have to come, fight and take it.
Yeah.
So it helps.
But why don't companies like Apple or the EU companies, why don't they just go through Kinshasa to Congo to us?
It's a big question because some few months ago, the EU have signed an agreement with Rwanda. And there were questions, why do you sign and you see what is going on the ground? And what was the response from the EU? They said, we have information that is correct that they are not there. So it means for them, is what is going on, and this treaty that they have with Rwanda is noble, but they don't see where the minerals are coming.
But they all know.
They
Rwanda is selling minerals that they don't have.
They know this, but they don't want to accept it. And this is the big issue, because they know where this is coming, but they don't want to accept it.
So if we in the West want to take an action in order to save Congo from all these terrible wars,
Yes.
where should our pressure point be? Is that at the Rwandan embassy? Is that at the EU level? Is that at the US? Is it at company level? Is it social awareness?
First, the social awareness. People on the ground, people in Europe have the capacity to ask government to change. And if there is awareness, a social awareness, people will put pressure. For example, on the Dutch government, because there are some agreement with the Dutch government and Rwanda. They will make a pressure and say, okay, would you please try to look into. On 25, I heard that there will be a sitting in the Dutch government. It's okay. And then people should be there to say, okay, would you please change this? And the second, make pressure on companies, because their company are there. Yes. And we have to say, okay, what's going on? Yes. And they have to ask them to take their responsibility. We cannot, what we call in the Dutch, maatschappelijke verantwoordelijke ondernemingen, corporate social responsibility. Yes. They know that they have this in duty. And if you also have to make pressure on the EU, because they are top of everything. So I think from people, from the individuals, from the country, from companies, if there is a pressure on those, things could change.
Yeah. All right, Ewing, I think we could delve much deeper, and you have a great historical and political view about this. But for this moment, I would like to thank you a lot.
Thanks a lot. You said we have to keep it in the basics, and I hope that I was just
you were very clear. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.